that's a pretty good distance shot of the workshop that's in my garage for the hobby that I call lawnmowers. And it is a hobby. It's not a business at this point. It started out about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and just fixing 2 or 3 mowers and giving them to some charitable causes. And then it grew. And kind of grew to where last year it was probably about 25 to 30 mowers were brought into the shop and repaired and restored to the point, or at least refurbished, I guess is a better word. And I'm going to go into some detail today and just kind of document what we've turned the shop into, what it's growing into, and that, you know, you'll see where I'm taking this. This is the Cub Cadet that I actually use on this property. This is on its 3rd season. It's got about 36 hours on it, I believe. It's been an excellent mower. It's got a Kohler motor, and it's 22 horsepower. Excellent mower so far. Easy to keep clean, and again, I use that power washer every once in a while, but for the most part, I'll run it for a month before I hit it with anything. But fiberglass body, steel chassis, and frame, doesn't matter to me. It's something that needs to be cleaned. This is my power washer. It's first pull, first start. It's been excellent for what's basically a Chinese motor on this, but it's Generac. I think it's 2800 PSI, if I'm not mistaken. I've got 3 attachments left on it. It looks like 2 now. No, there's 1 on the tip. But every mower I do gets this treatment. This is a Troy-Bilt. I like Troy-Bilts again because they use Briggs & Stratton motors and Honda motors when they have them. Pretty simple to work on. It's essentially, it's not self-propelled. It's just a regular walk-behind bagger. The owner of this bought a 0-turn Dixie chopper for like $13,000. I don't know what size lawn he's cutting, because he was cutting it with this. But he gave me the bag and everything. I'm not a big bag fan, but a lot of people are. And he can't keep it running, so I think it just needs a carburetor clean. And I think he knew that too. But it looks like it's in decent shape, and this is another one that will just make a home for somebody. I think somebody will enjoy this. Mower I bought. I think I found it on Craigslist. 6-liter Craftsman, self-propelled, where the self-propelled mechanism doesn't work, which is pretty much common in these. And this time, it is the transmission. It's not the cabling. I checked everything that I could, and it looks like a mower that lived a good long life. So it's getting ready to be cleaned up. I cleaned up the carburetor. I changed the oil. I tightened up the cabling. I'm not going to take this apart and restore it. It'll probably spritz the handle for any area where there's rust, just to make sure that it doesn't rust up into the future. I'll make sure it's a single pull, make sure it starts first on the first pull every time. It's an MTD Pro. 6.5 horsepower, but it's a Kawasaki. And I got to tell you something. After fixing hundreds of these things, the Kawasaki is not as good an engine, anywhere near as good an engine, as the Briggs & Stratton. It's too complicated for no reason. The carburetor is too heavy, too touchy, too delicate, if you will. So I'm in the middle of fixing this. The tenant in one of the rentals that mows their own lawn obviously hit a rock or a stump, never told me. So I had to go in and replace the Woodford key, which for a Kawasaki engine is $10. Shipping included, but $10. When I could have bought a bag of Woodford keys for $3 free shipping, if it would have fit a different motor. So Kawasaki is a little bit like Honda used to be, in that they make their mowers are really not compatible with anyone else's. There's a reason, if you do the research, that Briggs & Stratton powers about 95% of the mowers that are out there. Like I said, this engine's too complicated by half. A snapper, as you can see. It's well built. It's been sitting in my brother's shed for about 6 years. he dropped it off to me with a few other things, including a snowblower that's probably worth $1,000 because he has more money than time right now. And when something breaks, it goes in the shed. You can see it's powered by a Briggs & Stratton 6 horsepower motor. It is self-propelled, and I tested it, and the self-propelled mechanism works. The cabling for this, unless I can cob it up myself, is about $25 or $30, which is a lot of money for something. But the self-propelled mechanism works. The deck is in good shape. It's a recycling mower or a mulcher. So this is going to be put together very quickly, and again, it'll find a nice home. I had it running a year ago when I got it just to see if I could do it in a challenge. I worked to get about 6 or 7 mowers running one day, and I did. And again, I'm very glad that it's a Briggs & Stratton mower number 5. So again, this mower came when I bought the house. I built this house 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And I bought this mower down at Walmart. It was on clearance. There's no story behind it other than the price was great and cheap. And again, it's got a simple engine for me to work on for the most part. I think it's Honda powered, this one is. And so anyway, I've gotten this and have used this as the backup mower for everybody. Everybody in town seems to have used this mower at one time or another. Theirs doesn't work. It's out to be fixed. They have a problem, whatever the case is. It still fires up on the first start, and I still use it around here to do a little bit of trimming. But I think, if someone needs a mower, needs a good one, then this is the one that's going to end up in This was not quite a throwaway. I gave somebody $20 for it. Their father also died, and they just wanted to get it off their property. It is a Craftsman, so it's probably a Tecumseh, which is a horrible, horrible engine. Tecumseh is probably the worst one ever made, in my opinion. They don't understand simplicity. They don't understand carburetors. They just don't understand. They don't get it like Briggs & Stratton, and they don't even get it like Honda does. They're as bad or worse than Kawasaki. But this can make something for somebody, and I'll see what I do with this. Worst case scenario, if I can't fix that snapper, I'll put that big 6 horsepower on this thing, and I'll put a high lift blade because it's a mulcher mower, and or I'll make it a mulcher mower, and off to the races. This is a Craftsman ride-on, obviously. And the story behind this was, sadly, I lost my father in December of last year, and my brother and my sister are continuing to maintain the home, and it's a considerably large property. So they needed 3 mowers to keep all the lawns cut. Unfortunately, my brother never found a place to keep this mower, so he kept it outside under a tarp. And as you can see, the thing has really seen better days. Tires are bad. He thinks they're bald. I disagree. It's missing a battery, which I think I've located. It's just overall, it's a mess. But it's a good brand. The Craftsman brand is really just an MTD with an MTD stamped steel deck and Briggs & Stratton, I believe, motor on this, and it's a 24 horse, so this is big. Even the big Kohlers are 22 horse, so this is efficient. It continues to run, and my brother's a bit of a over-maintainer, so you can guarantee that it's mechanically in good shape. But look at the mess. So, because this was my dad's, this is going to be a restoration project, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think you won't recognize it when it's done, and hopefully wherever it goes for its next home, it'll be well taken care of and live another 15-year life.